Hey, toy fans. I'm here with another one of our G.I. Joe reviews. So, this one came in early. I was surprised, much like Mainframe. Mainframe came in. I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. I'm surprised that this one came in so early. Originally, it was going to be August, I think, with Amazon. And then it was like, no, we're going to do December. I'm like, all right. And then it was like, no, we're going to put it in the same month where you overspent. And that's what's going to get you in trouble. I'm like, oh, snap. So it's in. It was pre-ordered. It was one of those. I think I pre-ordered this back in like the summer, and when they started dropping news and doing all this, it's like, hey, mainframe, yes. Wetsuit, yes. Sci-fi, I really wanted, but I could only choose so much. It's the same with Desert Scorpion and some of the other reveals that they had at the time. But wetsuit was a must for me. Why? Well, when I was a kid, there was a kid that when I would go to visit my uncle, and they had a lake house, right? At the end of the street where their lake house was this two-story house. There was a kid there that, and I can't remember his name, but I had so much fun with him. I loved going and visiting and playing. And he gave me a wetsuit action figure. And I loved wetsuit. So I would carry two figures with me whenever I would go scuba diving. One of which was the Hydro Viper, which they finally announced a name, and I cannot wait to get that one because I'm going to get a Hydro Viper. But the other was wetsuit. And wetsuit was one of those that I absolutely loved the figure when they came out with I think it was like in 2000 they had the GI Joe, not Valor versus Venom, but it was like the GI Joe Real American Hero re-release figures, and then they had wetsuit, and I think it was like gray and black. I got it. I had to. I loved the figure. I thought it was really cool. Never could find it in the 30th anniversary. I think it came out in like the was it the Attack on Cobra Island pack or something. So it was kind of an obscure figure to get. But when they announced it on Classified, I'm like, I have to. And I'm glad that they didn't make it a part of a big set. It's not a deluxe figure, but it seems like it's got enough there. So I have not even opened this yet. This is definitely one that I want to open with you all here. So let's take a look at the packaging. All right, so we've got, of course, the open window G.I. Joe Classified here. We get our character wetsuit. No name. This is kind of a first for me because we got the code name, but no name, which is weird because mainframe he had his whole name, da da da, mainframe Blight or whatever his name was. This one we don't have it. It just says wetsuit, so that's kind of a weird one for me because we know that this character should have a name. We do get a nice kind of almost like it's computer, but it's like almost like a painting rendering of wetsuit there inside the ocean. This is number 179. Keep that in mind. On the back, we got some computer generated stuff to kind of show some things here. We got, of course, his head, him in action, and then we've got this piece that attaches to the bottom of his, not his buoyancy compensator, but his scuba tank, so he's able to breathe. It actually looks like a rebreathing unit. And then a bunch of legalese on the bottom, stuff we don't need. You could scan it if you want to kind of figure out, while he is. He's underwater, demolitions, etc. Blah, 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 blah. There's that UPC if you need it. You need it? Moving on. If you need it further than that, you can pause it. Come on now. We're beyond that. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to grab my wonderful donut confetti knife. We're going to open this bad boy up. I'd like to see what all we've got. Hopefully we don't have any breakage. I know that there were some problems with some of the figures that recently came out, like Crystal Ball had some issues. Initially, I did not get Crystal Ball because the box feels solid. We don't need it though. I did not get Crystal Ball because when they did the pre-order on him, he sold out pretty quickly. Was not able to get to it. So hopefully we don't have the same problems. Now I see him at Walmart, and now I know because I know he's got some arm issues. So I'm like, I don't know. He does come with this really cool. Now this is a cool and original blaster. I'd say it's like a little spear gun underwater blaster. Pew 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 pew. We do have these fins here. Now this is different than our Cobra Eel because this has some Demon of the Deep sort of vibe to it, right? I feel like wetsuit probably should have had less of this and more of the Cobra Eel style flippers, but nonetheless, we do get these. I don't think there's a right or left foot. Right foot, left foot. I think they're kind of the same. Maybe. You know, we'll try it. Oh, yep, left and right. There is. If you look inside, there's a left and a right inside. It's hard to see, but there's a left foot, an L in that one, a right in that one. So now we know where they go. Over here, we got a stiletto. No coloring on the stiletto, just basic stiletto. It's black. I think looks a lot like my stiletto, my dive stiletto, which, you know, they're thicker, you know, heavier barred knives that, you know, kind of basic shape so you can pry things up with it. So kind of like that. We do have a underwater lamp, which if you followed any of my live streams, I've talked about scuba diving. I used to love scuba diving. I had a lamp similar to this. My first night dive, my lamp went out on me and I got left behind. And the ocean glowed. So this is fun. This brings back some cool memories. Having, you know, wetsuit with his lamp. The fact he's got his fins, his wetsuit, his rebreather, all of this. I have a feeling this is gonna become kind of a new favorite. All right, so let's go ahead and get his mask out. Now, he's got a mask. He's got these hoses. They will, let's see, is that snap? Yeah. So he's got these hoses that snap into the front of his mask here. They're going to go around, and it is partially see-through, so you can see through the goggles. And this is a nice helmeted. This looks like wetsuit. Now, the original figure, he did not have a removable helmet. This one does. I dig this. I absolutely dig this. This is the type of helmet I always wanted to get, but they never really offered it back in the day. You know, when you're scuba diving as a civilian, you don't get all the cool abyss underwater effect sort of stuff. All right. We got our man here. We're going to check articulation here in a minute. Let's go ahead and get our rebreather pack. Very reminiscent of the vintage toy. We've got some peggable pieces here. I have some guesses to what that is, and we'll look at it in a minute. We'll check that sort of alleged idea here in a minute, and we'll see how it works for us. And then we've got, let's pop it on out. Oh man. Okay. I thought I was bending it. We'll get rid of that. Thought I was bending it, but we're not. So this does not turn. This is one solid unit, but it is winged in a way. So it does have some wingage to it. This I think is inlaid plastic. So there's a little bit of discoloration there where that plastic's thin. But then we've got this little bar on the back. Now this I think attaches in if we need it. It's supposed to peg right here on the bottom. Yeah, it does. It pegs right into the bottom. Now, that's one. And then I believe this might be two. What a dive master. Check that out. He can put all this stuff right there. He can peg it to his rebreather tank, and he is good to go, right? All right, with our man here, we've got the ab crunch. Now, his torso seems really, really long for some odd reason. I think it has to do with this crotch piece right here, and he feels really long. Like, this dude is a tall, overly tall dude. But he's got, of course, his knife sheath over here. He's got, of course, the ball hinge up in the shoulders. He's got bicep turns. He's got the pinless double jointed elbows. He does have the hand with the swivel and a watch. Nice dive watch there. Ab crunch with a little bit of the hip gyration. This does kind of get in the way because I know this goes over a lot of the torso of this right here. So this is kind of like bunching up against the belt, which I'm not too keen on, but all the joints feel tight without them being too tight. He's got these cool packs up here on his shoulders and, you know, his BC. Well, it's not even a BC. It's just a harness for his tank. I guess these would be his weights up here. And he's got some other areas. He's got some areas that clip into his harness, so that way it stays all together. He has, of course, the very, very, oh my God, Hasbro, what are you doing? That is the tightest knee hinged knee joints. I'm afraid I'm going to break them. Just that's so tight. But, you know, they have the black here. They've got the kind of off blue aquamarine there. You got the thigh rotation. You've got the ball jointing that's got the drop down thighs. It doesn't drop too much, though. And then over here on the hand, you've got the same rock forward, which works out. You don't necessarily want a pistol grip or the pistol type on this one, just because of the nature of what he's doing. Now, I'm going to push these down onto the cut of his thighs because they're kind of riding up into his crotch. They're going to make swimming a little tough. I'm going to push them down like that so that way they can, there we go, they can be on the thigh cut. All right, he does have, of course, the rocking ankles. He does have the pivot foot. He's got all the normal articulation we'd think of in any of these characters, which works out. I'm going to go ahead and put his helmet on. Oh, that looks nice. That absolutely looks nice. And, of course, these have rotation on them. And much like the Cobra eel, that helmet does tend to move. That's a little upsetting that it doesn't seem to fit tightly, snug, a little bit more snug to his head. I could probably cut like a couple pieces of cosplay foam to stick in there, but that's rather upsetting. That'd have been an easy fix. Just I could even maybe boil the helmet down, put it on him. I don't know. He's got that cool little harpoon gun that goes in his sheath over here. Fits in nicely. His stiletto fits in nicely over there. I mean, it's still a pretty cool figure. I'm not gonna diss it and disown it and be like, you'll never have a place in my home. That would not be good. He does have his light. Let's go ahead and pop these off. Boom, boom. Let's pop this out. If I can get it. Oh, there we go. And then, of course, this is going to fit on. Now, he does have these two pieces here. That's going to fit into his harness right onto his back. And then these can fit right into here. Now, these feel a little stiff. They don't feel nice and gummy. His helmet feels more gummy than anything. I feel like that should have been gummier. And his helmet should have been a little bit harder. But these feel like they keep wanting to fall out. I mean, all in all, it's still a cool look. I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't want him around. I think he's a cool figure. It's just like there's some things that's like, yeah, that could have been fixed easily in production instead of waiting until now. Now, he does have this unit here. This thing is supposed to be some sort of underwater dive thing, I'm guessing. It's got, let's see. Does it go this way or this way? I think it goes this way. Yeah, I think the propeller goes to the back, maybe. I don't know. This one's a little weird. Can't really get behind this one too much. Honestly, I felt like if he, here's the thing. I would hate to dive with the propellers being facing me. Something like that. You could lose a finger. It should have had a grill or something over it. I feel like that should have been reversed. The wing placement and everything, that all works out fine in my opinion, but I don't know. This thing is downright the hardest thing to get in his hand. I don't think I like that at all. I don't know. Fit it to the back of his backpack, I guess. He's like, I don't know. Yeah, what did I do? Well, obviously you didn't get your backpack set. You're it. You're done for being a Joe. You're being kicked out now because you can't seem to get your equipment to hold correctly and function correctly. So you're out. You're on the streets. Hope you like underwater welding because that's all you're going to be fit to do from here on out. This does like kind of, I guess you could fit this on the back of here. And I guess that could work. I might honestly, it's like at this point, I'd probably just fit it to his back. I do see some problems with the hoses and the mask. The mask being something that kind of keeps wanting to pop off. It's definitely no mainframe, I'll give you that. But I will say, cool figure overall. Like I could get behind this. It's definitely one of those figures that's like, you know what? I you know, I could see that it's like, yeah, this would have been him. Me zoom in just a little bit more for you. It's like one of those. It's like, yeah, it's there's some things that could have been improved, but all in all, this is still a pretty solid figure. I like the look of him, and he definitely has that classic wetsuit sort of look. I love the little fish logo and the red that he has. Of course, the marine blue with the white stripings and the black and the fins. I'm not quite sold on the fins. I don't feel like they necessarily fit with him as a Joe character. Like that should have been more something that we got with the Demon of the Deep or the Hydro Viper. But we are getting a Hydro Viper in, so it's like one of those. It's like, yeah, this is kind of like the build up to those Vipers. I'd definitely like to take some shots with him and Cobra Eel, see how they battle, see how they look. I think it'd be really cool. I think that this is my first diver I have for Joe, so I'm definitely excited about having him. And he's got some childhood significance to me that I absolutely love. I think it's a solid figure. I like it a lot. The accessories he came with is pretty smart. I'm just not sure, like this fan thing, that feels a little odd and awkward for me, but it still works out. If you want, he can always hold his rebreather that way and do kind of another rescue thing. He definitely feels like he's got rescue colors on, which is cool, or underwater demolition. But I don't know. I like him. I like him. I think he's cool. I think he's really cool. All right. Well, that's all I got to say about the G.I. Joe classified wetsuit. What's his name? Who knows? The reason why is because you got to scan to find out. And they, I guess, stopped putting people's names on their packages, even though that it's supposed to be their name and code name. I don't know. Explain that one to me, Hasbro. Make it make sense. It doesn't. It doesn't. Well, that's all I got. Hey, thank you all for showing up today. I really appreciate it. I love you all. Jesus loves you more. There's nothing you can do about it. There's no building on this. Good luck getting them out of the package. Good luck getting those knees articulated. Take some time with them. Otherwise, you're going to break his knees. He's going to sound like me standing up from being in the squatted posture for so long. On the way up. All right. Well, good luck with the toy find. All that sort of stuff. I appreciate you. Have a good day.